Morning, everybody. It's me, Ashley Brooke. Most of you guys already know that I'm autistic and I have two autistic kids. I have a 2-year-old that's going to be 3 and a 10-year-old. He's going to be 11. And the topic that I wanted to talk about this morning, because I'm experiencing it right now. I've been experiencing it, and it's something that I'm working on right now. Is what I mean. Allowing my son to feel more, capable and independent. It's hard when your child's getting older, and especially when they have challenges, to allow them to, let them go. A lot of parents have this problem. I know I'm not the only one. Son right now, he's taking the lift. He's doing things that are showing that he's getting older. Like he's taking a lift by himself. He's using the toilet now. He's participating in his own bath. He is learning how to read, though he's still nonverbal. He says some words to me when I ask him questions and stuff, or when he's prompted, but he is getting older. But with his challenges, I'm so used to being his voice, his eyes, his ears, but it's time for me to start taking a little bit step back. And, you want to make sure that your child there's an adult or somebody there, but I was one of those parents that was peeking in the classroom, when class was going on, I was overboard where we were, and that can really mess up a child that's trying to feel capable. So I'm working on that right now. And I wanted to go over, the different types of, babying. See, I grew up, I was nonverbal till I was 7, and I stopped talking. Like I said in my other videos, from 10 to 11. But my family, because I didn't speak up for myself, my family, they did things like, when you're brought up in the Latin kind of family that I was brought up in, and they had a real gang mentality, very abusive, just rough around the edges type of home, they're really rowdy people. Their way that they treated children, is very different from the way maybe another culture might treat their child. Their form of babying was just being very putting the child, they didn't treat them equally, They told them what to do, and you don't talk back to your elders, You never, you always do everything for the adult, you know what I'm saying? You don't talk back, and you do what you're told. That's it. You don't have an opinion. They don't care about, your thoughts or how you feel about it, very much go cry about it type of response if we didn't like something, They didn't care. It wasn't important. Children's opinion and feelings were not important. That's how it was. And as I got older, I started to realize that some of my other siblings, began to be treated equally by them. But myself, I always was still continuously treated that way. And now I'm completely I'm shunned pretty much. I don't go to any holidays, anything like that. Never do they invite me. So that is a form of their version of baby, because they don't really, apparently they don't really hold babies up to a high standard, because they're not treated too nicely. They're more just oh, you're younger, do what you're told, and you're, you don't know what's right. We do, and because of my autism, it made them be oh, you're different. You're not doing what I'm doing, so you must be wrong, and you still must be a child, and so that's how they will forever treat me. And there's other forms of babying, okay? And we're all guilty of babying. Not that version. That was some, that was some old school shit, But I'm guilty of babying my son. Before, he would make a mess, and I'd be pick up your mess. You need to pick up your mess, little mom cap on, and 5 minutes later, I'm come on, Ozzy, and I'm just helping him, pretty much doing it all for him, and he's just giggling, in the corner at me, wasn't doing anything, wasn't helping him at all. I mean, I was doing it for him, but the idea of parenting is to get the child to be able to be independent, you know? And with autistic children, and I know, because you know, if my mother wasn't wheelchair bound, I probably wouldn't be this like capable of doing every little thing for myself. My mom was wheelchair bound. Like, she couldn't do anything since I was very, very young. I'm talking like 3 years old or something like that. My mom became wheelchair bound. So because my family was so like lost, you know, in the world, you know, it's a nice way of putting it, you know, lost in the world, I had to learn how to do things. My mom would direct me and stuff, and I had to do things, otherwise we wouldn't eat or we wouldn't survive. So I had a very rare, you know, upbringing. But my son, because I struggled so much and I had so much, you know, on my plate as a young child, you know, with my challenges, when I had my son that's autistic, I was like, oh my God, I don't want him to go through what I went through, you know, and I tried to protect him and do everything I could for him. And then it became a problem, you know, like, I need to allow him to be independent. I need to allow him to feel capable and give him, you know, he needs, all children need this, you know, not just autistic children. We need, like, you know, foundation, we need rules, you know, it makes us feel safer. I remember my family was like super dysfunctional, and I would run away to my grandma's house all the time when I was young. Before I can talk, I'd run away when I was like 5. I'd run away to my grandma's house, and my grandmother was like the strictest person in the world. Super strict. Like, she had chores even to be to spend the night, you know, like for one night. You know, she was super strict, and I would run away to her house. And I think it's because I knew what to expect, and it made me feel safe. And, you know, and I think I liked the consistency of how she ran her house. You know, I like that part of it, and it makes sense. It's like, okay, well, I just do what I'm told, then she's actually nice. You know? So if I just, you know, followed her rules. So I want to, you know, share with you guys. And also, when you're nonverbal, things that bug a nonverbal child, and I'm telling you from my own personal experience, you know, and then I'll tell you like what I noticed with my son, like watching, you know, engaging with my son. When I was younger, okay, I remember people would ask questions about me in front of me, and it was really, like, sometimes it was rude questions, and, you know, they thought that I wasn't understanding, or that I wasn't gonna remember, or I don't know what the hell they thought, but I remember everything, and I understood everything. I remember that they would like say things that were kind of like joking about how, like, that I was weird. And in their mind, because like the Latin culture, like they like to like rough joke, you know, like they call it, you know, they kind of like will joke roughly, and they think it's like showing love or something, like this is how they are. And they would make like little light jokes, but because I was so literal, it actually like really, like, I really believe like they meant that like 1,000%. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but we don't like light jokes, even especially if it's about our autism. Not cool. And that will also make us be more like, you know, to withdraw. Another thing, they used to always like say, what did that, or what, you know, where did that go? I don't know, like, you know, Ashley did it, or, you know, and I'm like, no, I didn't. But it was convenient for them to just act like I did something, or, you know, or when I finally did talk and said that something had happened, they were like, oh, can't really trust what she's saying, she's different, you know. That is horrible to treat any child that's autistic like that, and as they get older to continuously treat them like that. That is straight fucked up. That's what I went through, guys. So my son also, he does this, I just want to share real fast. My son, whenever I tried to, like, if people were asking questions about him and I tried to like explain for him, like not explain but like tell them what he liked and whatever, he's like looking at me like, and he's tugging on my arm. He's like, stop it. Like, he's probably like, I change every day. Like, I don't even like that anymore, you know? And when we're over here, like, talking, and it's kind of like makes them feel like they don't have an identity, I feel like. Because I went through something like that before with my mom when I was younger, and she was talking about this, like, show that she said I liked, but I didn't like it anymore. And I was just, like, kind of just felt like, well, I don't even need to be